Noah, good to see you, man. Welcome to Popternative.
Thank you for having me.
I'm sure it's just been a kind of normal couple of weeks for you, eh? I would say.
Yeah, it's been crazy. It's been crazy. Yeah.
um, no, everyone had it on their calendar, right? Like New Wednesday is going to come out. I mean, one of the biggest shows on the planet. It continues to kind of get momentum each day. It's like the new like episodes are out. I want to go back to right before you go filming because we know about the audition process and all of that, but like a couple weeks before filming, you have kind of used those scripts as textbooks, you know, as much as you can about Bruno, this character. What is that script to screen journey like for you before going to production in regards to all those elements in those scripts and then seeing it come to life, so to speak? Because I find that very interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I went through all the scripts and I like specifically singled out my scenes and I just like did basic prep work. I figured out a sort of personal history for Bruno and even, if there's stuff that's not in there, I would come up with something that I felt fit. And just sort of, figure out, given circumstances for each scene, basic intentions. Um, but yeah, as far as prep work goes, I think something that I had to learn was there's only so much you can do because when you're shooting I was coming from theater school where,
Yeah.
rehearsal is a huge part of it. Um, and then shooting a show like this, it's like it moves so quick and you gotta know it and know what you're gonna do kind of, but then if it's different on the day, the person you're acting with is doing something different, you have to be able to adjust and switch it up like that. And so, yeah, being able to almost let go a little bit
Yeah.
was a big thing for me because I, I very much was like I prep it this way and then I'm going to do it this way. And I know exactly how it's going to go. And it was a great experience to learn to just sort of let the impulses happen more. So.
How do you process the different elements and components to your character Bruno? Because there's so much at play with you're joining a show for season 2 when it's established and it's like one of the biggest shows ever. You're a werewolf, so we've kind of like have these little bit of like these, alludes that there will be kind of wolfing out at some point, hopefully at some point, you know what I mean? But like, and then there's also like this love triangle with like Enid Sinclair, right? That's like potentially hinted at. Like, how do you process all of that? Because those are all like different things if you think about it.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think depending on the scene, whatever the scene is about, like that takes priority. That's
Yeah.
like consciously what the character is thinking about. But then if I had, done my prep work correctly, all the other stuff would be there subconsciously, even if it wasn't at the front of my mind. And I think a big part of that for me was getting the physicality down,
Yeah.
like getting the physicality of somebody who is that stereotypically cool, or
Mhm.
like, he's just such a cool guy, and
Oh yeah.
uh, being able to do that, consistently, that was a big part of it for me. But once I felt like I got the walk down, and I just, standing there and being relaxed and in his fashion, everything else sort of fell into place. So.
What was it like also, getting back to that scripted screen journey with the fact that, Bruno becomes, a potential love interest for Enid. There's this kind of situation where Enid and Ajax were together. So like I said, the love triangle. But we kind of as viewers have to kind of take that day by day, right? To see kind of like how that kind of evolves, so to speak. But like for you playing that character, do you think about that, like the scale wise, the pressure wise? Because that's like a that could be like a really big storyline. You know what I mean? Like for everyone
Yeah.
once it drops, right? Which it has been. People are talking about it already.
Yeah, I think when I saw that, I was like, oh, people are gonna have fun with that. But then I just tried to, I mean, look, I'd love to say that I hadn't thought at all about how any of it would be received or reacted to, but of
I feel
course,
like it's impossible.
I know, I spent 8 months being like, oh God, I hope people like it, like my character, whatever. But now that it's out, I honestly am. I'm just excited for people to do whatever, like however they feel about it. I'm excited that they're watching the show and they're watching my work, and yeah, I hope they have a good time with it. So.
I had a great time with the camping scenes, and I feel like you probably had a great time filming those. You play guitar. Just can you
Yeah.
tell me a little bit about that? Like, what was like the talks with like the showrunners about the songs and like what was gonna happen? Like, what was that all? I love that scene. That was so great. Felt
Yeah,
like
it
a
was so
horror
much
movie. I was waiting, like you're waiting for something to happen, and then
to
it
happen.
does
Yeah.
happen. Like, you're like, yeah.
No, it was so much fun because I don't think it was originally I wasn't originally supposed to be doing that.
Okay.
But the Paco who directed the episodes 2 and 3, we all had meetings with him when we started filming that block. And Emma, I guess, met with him before and had mentioned that I played guitar. And so when I met with him, I came in the room and he was like, I hear you play guitar. And he handed me a guitar. He's like, play something. And then he was like, do you want to play in this episode? And I was like, yeah, of course. And so, yeah.
You and your cast were special guests at Monday Night Raw a couple of days
Yes.
before part one dropped.
Yeah.
The question I have here is Netflix, the global component, right? Like something goes on Netflix, you snap your fingers, and then like, you know, like millions watch it worldwide, and it's insane, right? And like WWE is on Netflix right now as well, so that global component. Did you
Mhm.
think about the global component of Wednesday when you signed on to it? Like, I know, like, you knew a little bit probably here and there about like the popularity of season one, but like, it really is like a global phenomenon, like fans from all around the world, so to speak.
Yeah, it's really hard to comprehend the scale, I
Yeah.
think. It like I understand it, but it doesn't it's still surreal.
Yeah.
It hasn't really sunk in yet. But it's yeah, it's amazing that the show has such a reach and, so many people love it. So,
There's a lot of content out there, Noah, in the
yeah.
fantasy world, the supernatural world, the spooky world, right? Like, not just
Mhm.
horror movies, like the spooky stuff, right? You know what I mean? The werewolves, the vampires, the mummies. And then there's also stuff like true crime and crime dramas. That content's always been around, right? Like it's always, they've always been making those genres, right? But do you think about the like how heightened the popularity has been for a lot of that content in the last, like, 5-10 years, so to speak, because it's at, like, I feel like it's at a different level right now, and specifically with
Oh,
like the spooky season stuff and the horror movie stuff. Like, what do you think about that specifically? You're working in kind of genres that have been around, but it's like taken to a whole different kind of level right now, in my opinion, and I'm curious to hear what you have to say about that.
yeah, I think I mean culturally it's cyclical with
Yeah.
what genres we sort of fall in love with and what's popular and yeah, there was a stretch there. I mean when I was in like middle school and high school where it was superhero movies. And I mean they're still huge, but like I mean you couldn't go anywhere without hearing about the new Marvel movie.
Yep.
And like that was like a solid 10, 15 years, and like that was pretty much anything anybody was going to the movies for.
Yeah.
And yeah, I guess there probably is like we're shifting to maybe other genres now, and people are exploring those, and yeah, it's so much fun. It's
It's so
awesome.
crazy with the superhero stuff because what I was like, I'm a '90s kid, right? But when I was wearing like Spider-Man shirts at school, I would get teased, and now I'd be like the most popular kid at school. If you think about
Yeah,
that.
yeah. I mean, it's the same thing with like anime too.
Yeah.
Anime over the last couple of years is huge shift in popularity. Yeah, I don't know. Taste change, culture changes.
Remember when I kind of told you in the beginning of the interview we're not gonna go to like the audition process and like preparing and everything. We're gonna go just straight to filming it. Now we're gonna go to, you get cast, right? Specifically.
Okay.
Like it's you do all that prep work, you get cast. It's like congratulations, you're gonna be Bruno. Cool. You know what I mean? So do you think about the fact that you're kind of in like a unique casting situation? I'm not even talking about joining for season two. I'm talking about the fact that it's like there is original source material from the Addams family world and the Wednesday Addams world, but
Yeah.
this whole like Nevermore Academy and all of that, that's a whole new thing that a lot of people have never seen before. So it's like there's unfamiliar territory and familiar territory at the same
Yeah.
time with Wednesday. And I feel like that puts you in a unique casting situation. Did you think about that at all?
Yeah, no, I think there was definitely times where before we started filming and even during the audition process where I was a little unsure of like what should I be going for
Mhm.
here is a specific reference that I should be using or but honestly, I think after the first self tape, I
Mhm.
sort of found a certain something that just kind of naturally came to me.
Yep.
I referenced season one a lot for like tone and trying to figure that out. I watched a lot of Georgie and Emma's scenes from
Mhm.
season one just to
Yep.
see their chemistry and see how that works. And because I
And then
didn't
you're
want
gonna
to,
come in and just ruin everything.
well, I didn't want to do what he was doing, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah,
I wanted to provide. I figured that there was some sort of, something going on there, so I wanted to
yeah, yeah.
give a counterpoint for that. And then, I mean, after that, what's really cool about this cast of characters is everybody brings a very unique approach and performance,
Yeah, yeah.
and I think I had to stop worrying about like. I just had to trust that they wanted me, and so I must
Yeah.
be doing something right, and
Mhm.
so just go for it,
A hundred-
and however,
Absolutely.
yeah. So
And I also meant like in regards to watching like the Ajax like Enid scenes, and it's just kind of like Bruno's gonna come in there at one point and just kind of like change the whole dynamic. You know what I mean? Like, is that fun, but also overwhelming? Because you don't know what's gonna happen, right? In regards to like you're a new love interest for a popular character, but
yeah.
you don't know. Then it becomes like a whole like Team Ajax, Team Bruno thing, and like you really don't know where it can go. Like, do you think is that overwhelming a little bit?
Not really. I mean, it's more fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like I got this awesome job, and it's like the best job ever, and I just get to have fun with these people that I'm like really close with, and yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah.
And two more quick questions before we wrap up. Emma Myers, I just kind of want to know, one, like just in general, like part A, part B question. Part A, like what was like working with Emma on those scenes? You talked about it a little bit, the research component of it, but like what were the conversations like in regards to Bruno's kind of situation where he's like, like the new love interest. He's part of a wolf pack with Enid. They have like a crew that we didn't see in season one because there's going to be a lot of learning curves there for everyone involved. For you and Emma, like what were those conversations like specifically with that dynamic?
Yeah, I mean, first off, she was incredible to work with. Like, I couldn't ask for, but the majority of my scenes were with her, and like, I couldn't ask for a better scene partner. She's just amazing. She makes it so easy. And I guess those conversations about like, yeah, I guess, Bruno's sort of new at the school, and Enid is finding herself more, and she's wolfed out, and so she's got this new group of people, and everybody's changed over the summer,
Yep.
and so that I think that took some of the pressure I felt off of me because like yes, I'm new, but also there's been a time jump here, and so everybody's sort of a new person, especially because they're all in school, and so there's still like your personality can change like that, or you can grow and shift like that when you're that young.
I
So
don't know if it's me just over analyzing things, but I always think about things. I'm a filmmaker as well, but it's interesting because it's like Bruno's new to us, but he's not new to like Enid when we like see you. If you think about that, right? Like that's interesting to think about, right? Because it's
yeah.
like you also have to like Emma's got to come in and do these scenes where
Mhm.
it's a thing that's been going on like all summer for Enid, right? But it's like new for everyone. Like that's interesting to think about too, a little bit, right?
Yeah. I mean, you got to play it like you've known each other for a while
Yep.
and even just met. But yeah, that's the gig, right? Yeah.
Absolutely. I
Yeah.
know the answer to this last question is
Okay.
either no or you try not to. But I'm
Uh-huh.
also talking about this more in regards to not like specific scenes because you're dialed into Bruno. I'm also talking about like at lunch or like at base camp or like video village. Are you ever conscious of the audience member watching Wednesday while you're making it, while you're in production? Or is that something that happens like more when you wrap it, so to speak?
I think Yeah, no, I think on set yeah, like you said, you're dialed in and there's so much going on that it's hard to really think of anything but what you're doing in the moment. But yeah, if like there was plenty of times I would go home and I'd be like, "Oh, I wonder like on a good like a day that I was feeling great, I'd be like, "Oh, I'm so excited for people to see that." Or
Yep.
a day that I felt like, I don't know, insecure or something, I'd be like, "Oh, no, like I wonder how that's going to turn out." I think it's definitely something that you're conscious of, but I would try to make an effort to stay out of my head because it's not really productive and it doesn't, help you. So,
Absolutely. Well, congratulations with everything. You're fantastic as Bruno. And season 2, part 1 of Wednesday is streaming now worldwide on Netflix. And in September, we will get part 2. And we are very excited. No, it's so great chatting with you, man. Thank you so much for coming on the show. I really appreciate it.
thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure.
Absolutely. Your Instagram is just your name, but people want to keep up to date with everything, right?
Yeah. Just look me up. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, this has been Pop Turn of youtube.com/Pop Turn for previous episodes. Till next time, this is Noah B. Taylor and PD Beats signing off.
Thank you for tuning in to Popternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popternative on YouTube.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.